Good morning, Wright State University, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Start your day the right way with us. We're going to be providing you the current events of the day. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening at Wright State University. We're going to have some casual conversations, and we're going to have a feature depending on the day of the week. You don't want to miss it. Right here, right now. The Wright Morning Show, WWSU. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Apologies for the delay in us getting started. There was a bit of a system bug that I had to work out here, but we're here. And it is Thursday, May 20th, 2021. On Discord, we have Laughing Chipmunk. How are you doing this morning?
I'm okay. I'm just having a little bit of a bellyache, but I think I'm all right.
That's good. We're going to go ahead and, since we're starting 30 minutes late, we're going to swap out the segments a little bit. So we're going to be doing current events from 10:30 to 11. We're going to skip the freeform discussion. And then from 11 to 11:30, we're going to do the part 2 to our narcissistic discussion. And at 11:30 to 12 will be the Thoughtful Thursday feature of the day. So with that being said, let's get right into your current events. First, we're going to start with local events. From Dayton Daily News, NASIC's $5 billion Novastar contract could quietly draw new businesses to the Dayton area. You could check that out at Dayton Daily News because they have a subscription-based service, so I cannot read you the article, unfortunately. From WHIO, Dayton City Commission votes to repeal mask mandate for vaccinated individuals. The Dayton City Commissioners has voted to repeal the ordinance that requires face coverings in the city's public spaces for vaccinated individuals. As previously reported, the repeal will go into effect immediately. It is in effect. We'll just put it that way. The ordinance was adopted by the Commission on July 1st, 2020, for purposes of reducing the spread of the COVID-19 virus, the city said. The Commission voted on the repeal as an emergency measure, with 2 readings during Wednesday night's meeting at 6 p.m. The repeal was in alignment with the guidance released by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on May 13th. The city said businesses and organizations operating in the city may continue to require employees, customers, and visitors to use face coverings inside buildings or other situations as needed. City officials say they plan to continue requiring employees and visitors to use face coverings in city facilities until further notice. The City Commission also announced that their first in-person meeting in over a year will be June 9th. So essentially, what this article is saying is that no longer do businesses have to require the wearing of face coverings for fully vaccinated individuals. They can if they want, but they are not mandated to do so anymore. So let us know what you think about the repeal of the city ordinance by going to our website, www.su1069.org. Click the green play button, and then click Chat with DJ in the menu. And there you can leave your thoughts, and we would love to hear from you. From Dayton Daily News, the Dayton Commission says the board has no authority to recommend police discipline. Again, you could go to Dayton Daily News to read more. From WHIO, Wright Patterson Air Force Base is crucial for U.S. mission to Mars, according to former NASA administrator. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base will continue to be crucial in the aviation industry's push to the next milestone of putting together the United States' long-awaited mission to Mars, a former NASA associate administrator said Tuesday. Ohio has been and remains a leader in aerospace innovation And that has made evident last year when they released NASA's economic impact study that found that Ohio was in the top 10 beneficiaries of NASA's efforts, said Steve Jerzak, former associate administrator for NASA. While Wright Patterson was not selected earlier this year as the preferred home for the permanent headquarters for the U.S. Space Force, legislators say the birthplace of aviation could play a critical role in the success of the country's push towards space exploration and defense. China and Russia are increasingly aggressive in space and have closed the gap to ensure that the United States is no longer the undisputed leader in space, said Representative Mike Turner. Senator Sherrod Brown is the co-chair of the Senate Air Force Caucus and said he too is working to ensure Ohio continues to lead the innovation for years to come. It is my dream to see aerospace technology stamped made in Ohio, developed in Ohio, and used around the world, Brown said. U.S. Secretary of the Air Force selected Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama as the preferred location of the U.S. Space Command headquarters in January. The impact of the Space Force on the Miami Valley has already started. In March, the area's first Space Force recruit, Trevor Bingledewitt, joined the approximately 550 Guardians projected to join the Space Force during the fiscal year. The Space Force has about 4,300 Guardians already enlisted in the military branch, according to the U.S. Department of Defense. From Hamilton Journal News, coroner's office warns of THC-infused edibles packaged like common snacks. Be careful. Dayton police recently confiscated THC-infused edibles with packaging that looks like Fritos and Ruffles, which prompted the Montgomery County Coroner's Office and Community Overdose Action Team to issue a warning. The group said people should look out for THC-infused edibles with packaging resembling common snacks. Dispensaries in Ohio are prohibited from selling products with cartoon characters or that look like commercially available products. However, online retailers can sell the packaging to be used with homemade edibles. The THC-infused edibles are often marketed to youth. This is concerning because youth may have trouble discerning the difference between THC-infused edibles and actual food, especially children who cannot read but can recognize familiar packaging, Montgomery County Coroner Dr. Kent Harshbarger said in a statement. Products packaged to look like common snacks may not have gone through state regulatory guidelines for food quality and safety, the coroner's office in Cote warned. If eaten, the products could cause adverse effects such as overdose and illness. Call 911 immediately in the event of a suspected overdose. Signs of a THC overdose include extreme confusion, difficulty conversing, poor coordination, high levels of anxiety, paranoia, panic attacks, fast heart rate, delusions or hallucinations, increased blood pressure, and severe nausea or vomiting. Code advises that parents and guardians carefully check the packaging of common snack foods for symbols such as THC or other mentions of cannabis. People purchasing THC-infused edibles on the street should recognize that the products they are buying may not have undergone state regulatory guidelines for food quality and safety, the task force said. It's kind of concerning, don't you think, Laughing Shimmick, that people are selling THC-infused edibles and labeling them as common snacks that you could buy from the grocery store?
Yeah, really. It's like, how did they get away with that? I mean, really, truly, I don't have anything against, weed or marijuana or cannabis or anything like that. But, when you do that kind of stuff and then, the little kids can get a hold of it, that's not right. It shouldn't be, little kids shouldn't be able to, have access to that stuff.
Yeah, it could be dangerous.
And people, that do not want the THC stuff, we don't want that stuff either. I'll stick to my CBD stuff without the THC. Thank you very much.
And I'll stick to the actual real Fritos.
Yeah, that too. The actual real Fritos and Doritos and all that.
All right, from WHIO, those of you who were planning to go to the air show, we have some good news for you. They're dropping the drive-in format. They're going to have a normal air show this year. This is from WHIO about 2 months after announcing a new drive-in format for the 2021 Centerpoint Energy Dayton Air Show. Organizers have dropped the format and will have a normal show this year. Organizers said the announcement by Ohio Governor Mike DeWine last week to drop all state pandemic health orders June the 2nd led to the decision to return to a normal show. Show officials jumped at the chance to fully reopen and present a traditional show program complete with static display aircraft, specialty seating, and a star-studded lineup of top aerobatic performers, a show spokesperson said in a media release. Show officials have spoken to Public Health Dayton and Montgomery County and received Ohio Department of Public Health's new order permitting the show to return to normal operations. The show will operate as it has in the past. Additional details about the return to normal format are expected to be released during a press conference this morning. And you can read more about this on WHIO.com. Let's see here. Moody's upgrades Wright State's credit rating, citing marked improvement in liquidity, according to the Dayton Business Journal. And again, I believe Dayton Business Journal has me on a paywall. Yes, they do. So you'll have to go there if you want to read information about that. Kettering City Schools and Rite Aid partner to hold vaccine clinics. This is from WHIO. Kettering City Schools teamed up yesterday with Rite Aid to host a COVID-19 vaccine clinic for students 12 and up at Fairmont High School. The cafeteria at Fairmont became a vaccine clinic from 1 to 5 p.m. Emily Bunce was there to get her 16-year-old son and Fairmont sophomore his Pfizer booster shot. For us, it's been a relief, Bunce said. He's the last one in the family who's completed the cycle, I guess you would call it, so we're pretty excited about that. Spencer Neal is 13 and a student at Van Buren Middle School. She was there with her mom to get her first Pfizer dose. It was just like any other normal shot, I guess, Neal said. It was cool, though, because I'm one step closer to being immune, so that's good. Rite Aid was running the clinic along with the school district. News Center 7 asked the company's Dayton area pharmacy leader whether they've noticed an impact on demand at their vaccine clinics from Ohio's Vaximillion program. Definitely since it was announced, we have seen an uptick over the past couple of days, Adam Guzik with Rite Aid said. So that's exciting. Just more encouragement for people to get the vaccine. So you can read more about this at WHIO. I do want to make a disclaimer, though. So there was a quote in this article saying from Neil, it was cool, though, that because I'm one step closer to being immune, so that's good. I do want to caution you that the COVID-19 vaccine does not necessarily make you immune to the virus. To my understanding, we are currently treating it sort of like the flu vaccine. It is possible that we are going to need the COVID vaccine annually, just like we need the flu vaccine in order to keep the COVID virus at bay.
And plus, the vaccine only covers, like certain strains.
Yeah, just like with the flu.
Right. Yeah, if COVID keeps mutating into new strains and stuff, your vaccine might not cover it, so you might still get sick.
Yeah.
However, you never know.
However, just like what we say with the flu vaccine, that's still not necessarily a justification to not get the vaccine, because just like with the flu vaccine, even if the yearly vaccine does not cover a certain strand and you get that strand, you're not going to have as severe of symptoms of the flu as you would if you wouldn't have gotten the vaccine to begin with. So even if it doesn't cover a certain strand, your symptoms are still going to not be as severe. And I'm assuming that's going to be the same case with the COVID vaccine as well. There are 5 hidden gem patios worth checking out in the Dayton area. This is from Dayton.com. Everyone has their patio list, and I'm sure you do too, Laughing Chipmunk.
My what?
Patio list.
Patio list?
Yeah, so places like patios that you want to eat on, or, restaurant patios, things like that.
Oh, okay.
So that list that's not on paper, but the one in our heads that we think about first when the subject comes up. The outdoor dining and drinking spots we crave most as the weather warms. As an exercise, I spent time thinking about the patios I am most looking forward to planting roots at to manufacture some serious vitamin D this summer. By the way, since this was written in first person, I do want to mention that this was written by Alexis Larson. I love all of the patios I've highlighted, and I'm looking forward to visiting each one. But the 5 I'm highlighting today are patio gems that create an experience and offer unexpected surprises. First off, Carolyn Brewing Company, that's at 1000 Carolyn Boulevard, Dayton. It's a lovely outdoor option that has views of expansive lawn and the beautiful park. Besides a great outdoor experience, Carolyn Brewing Company is also home to the nation's only production brewery in a museum. History buffs and folks who crave something that's a little off the beaten path will find more than enough to like here. Skipping ahead, Hidden Valley Orchards is number 2, 5474 North State Route 48 in Lebanon. To say I love this place would be a huge understatement. Robin and Randy Lane have done amazing things with this since purchasing the property at the beginning of 2018. The sweet 65-acre Warren County family fruit farm used to be a sleepy, but it's got a new life thanks to the hip, shabby, chic farm bar called the Crate Room that opens to one of the best patios in southern Ohio with a view that won't quit. It's a great spot to grab an HVO hard cider or one of the rotating beers from the tap room, walk out the garage doors on a good sunny day, and enjoy a crop tail that will feel more like vacation than a farm. Number 3, Rip Rap Roadhouse, 6024 Rip Rap Road in Dayton. Say that 10 times fast. If the weather cooperates, Wednesday night bike night may attract 1,000 or more motorcycles, which is the sight to behold. And for those kinds of crowds, you need plenty of seating and plenty of bars. Rip Rap Roadhouse has all that, plus live music, tasty food, and stiff, frosty drinks. Number 4, Smith's Boathouse Restaurant, 439 North Elm Street in Troy. In late 2016, Smith's Boathouse Restaurant opened at Treasure Island Park in Troy. The location is picturesque and steeped in history. Conceived and funded by Hobart Brothers Company and led by Edward and William Hobart, Treasure Island and Marina opened in 1946. The boathouse was the center of activities including boat races, water skiing, family outings, dances, and boat shows. And number 5, Ye Old Trail Tavern on 228 Xenia Avenue in Yellow Springs. The patio on the side of this 19th century tavern is a little umbrellaed oasis parked in the middle of Yellow Springs' main drag. It's a lovely spot to grab a drink or meal or both. Ordinarily, a patio like this one wouldn't be the stuff I dream about and long for, but its location, coupled with the unique AT-27 building it's home to, elevates it greatly. You can read more about these patios at Dayton.com. We're going to go now over to national and global news. Cheddar News Need to Know. From NBC News, if you've been jonesing for a European vacation, you could finally pull the trigger. The European Union has approved a plan to reopen borders to fully vaccinated travelers and anyone coming from COVID-safe countries. The plan is expected to be formalized and implemented by all 27 member states officially next week, just in time for summer. Children who are too young to be eligible for vaccination can travel, but they will have to show a negative PCR test. Anyone coming back into the U.S. will need to show a negative test regardless of vaccination status. Meanwhile, the White House is said to be considering easing the strict regulations that bar a lot of the world from coming into the country. From The Guardian, there are some early signs that the fighting between Israel and Hamas may be easing amid international calls for a ceasefire. Both sides have halted fire for several hours, though it's unclear if the lull was part of an agreement. Israeli media is reporting that the military believes it has achieved most of its goals. Earlier, the White House said President Biden told Benjamin Netanyahu that he expected a significant de-escalation, while Germany and France also added the calls for a ceasefire. Texas abortion law from the Texas Tribune. I think it's tricks. Let me double check on this. They abbreviated the source. Yeah, the Texas Tribune. Texas now has some of the most severe abortion restrictions in the country after Governor Greg Abbott signed a bill into law that prohibits abortions as early as 6 weeks, 2 weeks after a missed period and before many women know they are pregnant, with no exceptions for rape or incest. Private citizens can also sue abortion providers for aiding and abetting any woman who violates the ban. Abortion advocates have vowed to fight the heartbeat bill in courts. Drought watch. The American West is staring down the barrel of a very worrisome summer. This is from the New York Times. The entire western half of the U.S. is in some state of drought. Lake Mead is so low that Arizona and New Mexico are considering unprecedented moves to ration water so it doesn't impact electricity production at the Hoover Dam. There have already been significant fires in California, New Mexico, and Arizona. Very unusual for this early in the year. Officials say this year's fire season, which is turning into less of a season and more of a constant state of being, could eclipse last year's record of 10 million acres burned. Oof, that's tragic. Cryptocurrencies crashed back to earth during a frenzied sell-off that hit all corners of the market. And Scotty's been talking about this throughout the week on the show. Bitcoin fell as much as 30%, touching $30,000 before making up much of its losses. Ether fell as much as 40%. Doge was down as much as 20%. The drop came after China banned financial institutions from participating in any crypto-related business, a move that was widely expected but still jolted traders and even spread to the regular stock market. From the Wall Street Journal, the CEO of Colonel Pipeline has acknowledged for the first time that he paid the ransom to hackers holding his fuel pipeline hostage. Joseph Blount told the Wall Street Journal that he made the decision to pay the $4.4 million bounty on the same day the pipeline was hit with a ransomware attack, saying the debilitating impact of a multi-day shutdown of East Coast energy infrastructure gave him no other option. The FBI has long advised companies not to pay hackers. I'm going to say this again. The FBI has long advised companies not to pay hackers. Many conclude they don't have a choice. I'm going to pause the article here for a moment. The reason why the FBI discourages people from paying hackers is because you are never guaranteed to get control back of your systems or your files, even after you pay the ransom. It is up to the hackers to decide whether or not they want to give you control back. And sometimes, if somebody pays, whatever they're asking, the hacker's just going to leave the ransomware on their systems. So essentially, you've been scammed when that happens. So that's why they advise against doing it. All right, let's talk sports from ESPN. The defending champion Lakers punched their ticket to the playoffs on a buzzer-beating three-pointer from LeBron James. The Lakers outplayed Steph Curry and the Warriors, who now face an elimination game tomorrow night against Memphis Los Angeles will face Phoenix in round 1. From Chicago Tribune, the summer festival season is coming back with a vengeance. Lollapalooza released its lineup featuring Megan Thee Stallion and Foo Fighters headlining the 3-day event in Chicago's Grant Park in late July. Lolla will be held at full capacity, provided attendees show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test. Across the pond, organizers got approval to put on a one-day festival at the Glastonbury site in September that they're calling Equinox. Pitchfork, Summerfest, Bonnaroo, Firefly, Electric Zoo, and Govball are among the other big festivals planning to open the gates after a year's pause. All right, let's go on now to your weather forecast. The current weather at Wright State University, according to tomorrow.io, is mostly clear, with a temperature of 77 degrees. The wind is coming from the south-southeast at 5 miles per hour. The humidity is 54%. The visibility is good, and the air quality is moderate. Your hyper-local 12-hour forecast shows clear skies up until 2:15 p.m. with some clouds rolling in around 3 p.m. And then from 3 to 9 p.m., it's going to be cloudy, mostly cloudy to cloudy. And then at 9 p.m., the clouds are going to clear up. Give me 1 second. We have a phone caller calling in. You're listening to The Wright Morning Show. What is your first name?
It's Harmony.
Hey, Harmony.
Harmony.
How's it going?
It's going. I'm here. I made it.
All right. Well, we're
fine.
just finishing the weather forecast here.
Perfect.
So the temperatures are going to reach 80 degrees around 12 p.m., and then it is going to get up to about 84 degrees throughout the afternoon. Temperatures are going to dip back into the upper 70s by 8 p.m. and then into the lower 70s by 10 p.m. Your extended weather forecast for May 20th through May 24th is the following. Today, Thursday, mostly sunny, high in the mid-80s. Tonight, partly cloudy, low around 60. Friday, mostly sunny, high in the upper 80s. Friday night, partly cloudy, low in around 60. Saturday, partly sunny, high in the upper 80s. Saturday night, partly cloudy, low in the lower 60s. Sunday, mostly sunny, high around 90. Sunday night, partly cloudy, low in the mid-60s. Monday, mostly sunny with a chance of thunderstorms developing in the afternoon, high in the mid-80s. And then finally, Monday night, a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the evening, tapering off to partly cloudy skies overnight, low in the mid-60s. So that concludes your current events and weather forecast. We're going to go ahead and take our top of the hour ID break on the Wright Morning Show. And when we come back, we're going to get into your daily reflection. We're talking about the 10 warning signs of narcissism. This is the part 2 of our segment from yesterday. So everybody stick around. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus.
SU 106.9 FM. Going on. Welcome back to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. It is time for the Daily Reflection. Joining us now on the, prior to the break is Harmony. How are you doing this morning, Harmony? I haven't had a chance to ask you that since we were in the middle of the weather.
No, I'm doing just fine. Hanging in.
Awesome.
Well, got the air conditioning on. Weird weather. The usual.
Supposed to be warm for the next few days, though, at least. So at least it's not going to swing back and forth.
Ugh. That's all we need is 90-degree weather followed by frost and snow. And
Don't say that.
Really
that happened in Colorado earlier this year.
Oh, yes, I know. It's crazy.
And then also, so I have in the studio with us our music director, Bella. How are you doing this morning?
I'm amazing.
Oh, she's beautiful. She is a Bella.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, so the reason why she said that is because she had a dog named Bella, and she unfortunately passed away. How many years has it been so far?
It was 2019 in September.
Not too far,
I was born in September.
She was born in September.
Aw. Well, not a 2019, obviously, so yeah.
No.
But
I could grow super fast.
there you go. Superhuman growth. No hormones needed. But yeah, I always liked that name besides. But yeah, it's just really pretty.
Thank you. My mom named me after her baby dolls. All of her
Aw.
baby dolls are named Bella.
That's cute.
Very cool. So those of you who were listening to us yesterday know that we were talking about the 10 warning signs in narcissism, specifically in relationships. But narcissism can occur anywhere. It can occur in friendships, coworkers, supervisors, etc. Family members, I forgot that one's a big one as well.
Oh, can't forget. Thank God our pets can't be narcissistic, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. So we've been covering an article by Lana Nolan from tinybuddha.com on narcissism and how she talked about Mr. Wonderful, this guy that she met that was very charming, very charismatic, at least at first. Yeah, too perfect. Too good to be true syndrome. And then over time, he started turning into this guy who's always focusing on himself, not really listening to what she had to say or how her day has been going, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, talking smack about other people.
Yeah. Immediately getting back with his ex-girlfriend after they separated.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember where exactly we left off.
We left off with she had just gotten over him, and he was trying to come back.
Here we go. I think I found where we are. Before we begin, I want to touch with Bella real quick because we touched with Morgan and all of you yesterday. Have you had any encounters with narcissistic people in your life before?
Oh, for sure. Like, even during the first semester that I joined, like, I was with a friend, and that's how they were, and I was like, oh, my God. And, like, they become super rude after a while and get to know them. It was absolutely horrible. Thank God I'm not in that anymore.
Wow.
It was just a time. Ugh, it was horrible.
Can I have you get the microphone a little closer to you? Because I have you on max, and you're still pretty quiet.
Yeah.
There we go. That's much better. All right, so we're going to continue the article a little bit because we haven't even gotten to the warning signs of narcissism
We haven't even gotten to the good stuff.
Yeah. So, he had badly abused his wife for 30 years, cheated on her multiple times, and was a horrible and manipulative father.
Jerk.
He was the one who couldn't let her go. He was the one taking her to court to get out of paying her basic support that was her due. He really was trying to destroy her. Some educators in his board called him a blowhard, and other community members thought he was arrogant and selfish. They said that his wife was lovely and that she raised the children on her own. Were there where were the warning signs when he was pursuing me? The scariest thing I learned was that he actually had a diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder.
Mm.
He went to anger management counseling for 10 years and was diagnosed as a malignant narcissist.
Evidently, it didn't work.
I was told that if he could get away with murder, he would do it.
Oof.
Oh,
That's not a good thing to be told about your significant
yeah.
other.
It's like a lifetime
Wow.
movie situation.
Yeah. I realized that his mind and heart are broken, making it impossible for him to feel compassion for another person. He is incapable of loving someone other than himself. I tried to warn the recycled girlfriend, but she took no interest in hearing from me. Of course, I understand this, but I had to try. Some might think that I am jealous of her. Instead, I'm morbidly grateful to her. She became his supply at a time when I rejected him. She took his focus off of me. I feel sorry for her, and now I worry about her. She is painfully and obviously insecure, which makes her his perfect prey. He hurt her before, and she went back for more. I don't feel good about my gratitude for her. I hope that she will come back to the warning I sent when she sees the red flags for herself.
Doubtful.
Yeah, I don't think she will.
I would be her sister and help her escape. Recently, I saw him while driving my car. He pulled out in front of me, forcing me to slam hard on my brakes.
Yeah, should have ran him over.
Because he looked directly at me, waited before cutting me off, I knew that he did it on purpose, and instinctively, I flipped him off.
I mean, perfect response.
Yeah. I saw him soon again after that, and he swerved into my lane threateningly. Antelopes are very good at detecting danger and will warn other animals when there is a predator nearby. They communicate with a whistle and use a scent as a warning signal. Like the antelope, we do not go to the watering hole alone, but unlike the antelope, we often ignore the danger signs from our bodies and alarm signals from those around us. You don't say.
Boo on us.
That would be an interesting discussion to talk about. Why is it so hard to get out of a narcissistic relationship sometimes? Well, part of it is the obvious one, safety. Perhaps there is some sort of, emotional thing going on where the spouse has legitimate threat of harm to the other person if they were to leave.
Well, that and a lot of insecurity, self-doubt, codependence. The list can go on and on for individual reasons, but I've always seen it to be the case of where it's somebody that's very insecure that doesn't think they're going to get anybody else better, and they're going to stick with the crocodile regardless.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've seen that a lot of times just growing up with my mom's friends or my dad's friends, that they just stick around even though that they're horrible to each other.
Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned yesterday, it's pretty disheartening to say the least to see it happen, especially if it's your friends.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrible and it's heartbreaking.
Mm.
So I can hear Shay in there going, "Hey." If we could look out for one another as the antelope do, we could escape the predator more often. Predators reveal themselves. If we just pay attention to the danger signs, then warn one another, we would collectively be safer. I made a list of warning signs to share with fellow antelopes. If you observe these behaviors, then pay attention to your instincts and run. Run in capital letters.
Run, Forrest, run.
Warning sign number 1. They talk about themselves. A lot.
A lot.
Yes.
A lot.
They will often tell stories about how much other people admire them or are jealous of them. Harmony, it sounds like you have something to say about that.
Oh, we'll wait. Keep going.
Okay, you want me to go through the entire list first?
You can go for it.
All right. Number 2, when not talking about themselves, they will talk about other people in negative ways. They can be very subtle, but it leaves you with a slightly different impression than the positive one you originally formed of them. Number 3, they don't celebrate your achievements, at least not for long. There will be something wrong with your accomplishment, or the conversation will switch back to their favorite subject, themselves.
Them.
Or if you got one of those narcissists that are also pacifists at the same time, you'll have them turning the conversation into, something very negative, like, oh man, I wish I was that talented. Oh, woe is me.
Yeah.
Victim.
That kind of thing.
The victim, yeah.
Yeah.
They do that really well too.
Honestly, they should just be actors.
They already are actors, unfortunately, in the play of human life. That's what makes it so bad.
Oh yeah.
I got a message saying when you get a sec, check the director chat. Hang on one moment here. Check the director chat in Discord because Parker said something. You'll want to react to this live on air. Do you have GroupMe on your phone by chance? Because I don't have it.
Yeah, I'll go get my phone real quick.
Let me know what happened in the director chat.
Oh my.
This ought to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 4, they lack empathy and compassion for people who need help or support. People with sick or disabled children, alcoholics, or people with depression or anxiety are people they consider weak. They speak about them with a sense of disdain. Yep.
Well, that could be in opposition too. Honestly, some of these things can be oxymoronish because I have known some of them to act like they give a crap, seem to have some compassion there, but still turn around and do crazy things. Now, you got to remember too that when diagnosing a narcissist, it's a very fine line. So unless certain elements are there, then you would have something completely different, like a borderline personality disorder or, something going into different areas. But you have to be extremely careful when diagnosing someone with narcissistic traits.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you get it?
Yeah. So on GroupMe, Parker just agreed to a bet that if the Pacers beat the 76ers in the NBA playoffs, he'll let his sister shave his head.
Ooh.
Oh, good.
Is this a real bet?
Between Shay and Parker, it probably is real.
Oh, God.
I think if he shaves his head, he'll look like the villain in Austin Powers.
Oh, God.
Like with the pinky.
Dr. Evil.
Yes, he'll look
Are
like
these freaking sharks are in the pirogue?
He's gonna regret this so bad, and I can't wait. If he does shave his head, I'm gonna make him do the little pose thing.
Oh, that's
Or
funny.
somebody knit that man a beanie or give him a toque, for God's sake.
Yeah, love you. What's that thing where they make hats on campus? Love your melon.
Yeah, love your melon, I think.
He can wear his Coach P jersey with it. Oh, it'll be the perfect picture.
Oh, funny.
We should use that as his headshot for the director.
There we go.
Oh,
All right.
that's
Sorry for getting off
Nice.
topic there. I had just received a message from Shay to check the director's chat, so I thought we would do that real quick. Going back to narcissism. Number 5, they withhold things from you. This is a very alarming one. If they start withholding things from you, you got to get out of there before they start withholding things like your identity or your credit card. Because once they get a hold of your ID or credit card, it's very hard to get out of the situation then. So they neglect to introduce you, leave you out of invitations to gatherings, withhold affection and intimacy, keep you uninformed, spend the evening in conversation with someone else, or generally make you feel a little bit on the outside of things. Number 6, you sometimes feel confused about things they said or did. They will tell you a different version and try to convince you that you missed something or that you just don't remember things correctly. I've had that happen before.
Yeah.
You frequently feel bad in your relationship. You often have hurt feelings. It is difficult to explain why you feel this way. Number 8, you sometimes feel like the relationship isn't balanced. This is your gut warning, or in Harmony's case, your intuition
Yes.
warning you before your mind can understand the danger. It's a feeling that things are not just that are just not right. Number 9, there's an uneasy feeling of push-pull. You're either in or you are out. Perhaps it feels more like things are up and down, like a yo-yo. In the beginning of the relationship, things are up and you are in. Sooner or later, that changes and you don't really understand why or how to get the connection back that you thought was there.
Yeah, I like the seesaw analogy myself.
Hmm.
Up and down, and then your partner jumps off the seesaw and lets you land on your bum.
Oof.
Yeah.
Number 10, they make wild claims about their ex. This one happens a lot, from what I've noticed.
Oh, yeah.
They call their ex crazy and have stories to, air quotes, prove it.
Mm-hmm.
They enjoy telling you about how they defeated them. Be very careful here. Their stories of the crazy things their ex has done are often a projection of their own monstrous behavior. That's why wild stories seem believable. It's because they are true stories, only the predator is the one who did the crazy things to them. As I write, we are in another lockdown. The local watering hole is closed, our cars are parked in our driveways, and I have blocked him from social media. I am safe, and yet I still double check the locks on my doors when I am home alone. I am grateful to learn that my body knows when I am in danger even before my mind does. I'm confident that I will listen more closely next time and pay attention to the warning signs. And that was the article by Lana Nolan. So, we shall go over to commentary. What do you think?
I think that I would be scared too. Like, I would always be checking my doors to feel like someone's behind me. If that happened to me, I would honestly be scared for my life at that point.
Yeah.
Especially even if you have them blocked, and with the lockdown that we had, they know where you live still. And it's not like you can go anywhere really quick because of the lockdown that we had. So I can't say I understand what she's going through, but I feel for her.
Yeah. And as you mentioned with the lockdown, when I've been volunteering at the YWCA last semester, uh, I've gotten to know that during the lockdown, there are a lot of resources that have once been available to domestic violence and, people in narcissistic relationships that are not available because of COVID, which is unfortunate. It's harder to get out of your situation because of COVID because there's not really anywhere to turn during the lockdown.
Yeah, that's why hopefully stuff will opening back up, like they get those resources, because that's honestly makes me sad because she can't do anything about it.
Yeah. And Harmony here could tell a couple of personal stories about narcissists, I believe.
Oh, Lord, I can tell hair raising. Jeez. Oh.
You got some stuff that are going on even in the present day.
Well, still, I say stalking,
Yeah,
but
stalking.
hardly. I mean, the only way this person can get in contact with me is via phone. I have changed my cell phone number. I'm in an apartment. My residence, this is what it is for now. But I live in a secured building, but this person lives in a different state. So there's like a 7-hour distance in between us. And he doesn't drive, which is even better.
That's kind of a good thing.
That's the very good thing.
For you.
And,
yeah, definitely.
But no, for the most part, this person is still delusional, even though I have made it clear several times, ain't no way I'm getting involved with your butt again. They still have delusions of somehow, some way they're going to get me back. They're going to somehow, be in a relationship with me, and it's like, you're very delusional. There's no way. So, but yeah, I mean, I actually had gone to the state that this person had lived in and spent some time there and ended up biding my time, mind you, in between calling a lot of my friends in between time. I was still working when I was there because I can bring my job everywhere. And for the most part, I was biding my time, and the perfect time came up. And let's say he was very, very excruciatingly hammered. I don't know too many people that can drink a bottle and a half of 151. And it was just really bad. So the EMTs and the police got called in. I was fine, of course. Nothing happened to me. It's more like him. But for the most part, I had got a room on the other side of the hotel and, made my way home the next day via, Greyhound. So, that was good. But for the most part, it was something that I will never forget, and definitely something I would never want anybody to go through. And it's true, because these people have, I would say, delusions of grandeur in a way, because they come off as the perfect person. And then, once they've told you everything that they're going to do, they're good for a few weeks or so. And then after that, it turns into, a crap show. And it just keeps going downhill from there. And you start to see the person's true personality come out. And it's just wow, didn't know that. But should have known that, really, because if you think about it, like she was saying, some of the red flags are there, but you don't necessarily pay attention. I always kind of equate that as a dual thing, because we do come equipped, of course, with our own intuition and the red flags, but also we have a tendency to bypass them and, go directly, past go, still collecting our money and still running, But the thing that I see in that on a spiritual level, at least, if we are going past the red flags, there's a reason. There's an experience there on a spiritual level that we need to get out of the way. There's something that we have to learn, and we're going to learn it, maybe the hard way, but at least we'll learn it, we'll move past it, we'll grow from it, and be able to know better next time. So sometimes, as a famous quote goes, there's always a reason why things happen the way that they do. But, you just have to really be very discerning about anybody that you meet. I know these days, with all the different dating sites and things like that are out and about, that you really have to pay attention. Because a lot of the guys out there, and women, it doesn't matter who, we're not going to blame it just on the guys, a lot of, both will say things that they know that the other wants to hear and kind of lure you in. And then, sometimes it's narcissistic, but sometimes it's not. It just depends. But definitely pay attention. And the thing that I can say that's kind of, in conflict sometimes is that it says that they're not compassionate. Well, sometimes they can act like they are, and that they turn around and later on you find out that they're not. And then what was the other thing that you had mentioned?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think what they meant by that, by not being compassionate, is that they're not compassionate in their personality, but they can put on a performance to make them look like they're passionate, as you said.
Exactly. Because the one person that I speak of, would, and I feel like it's their own insecurities and things that they've been through, depending on, what you know about them. Now I knew some other things related to this particular situation on some different levels that were never brought up, but yet they're there. Depending on what they've been through, if they've had a narcissistic parent or someone in their life, it's pretty much there. But as I was saying, it's a fine line to diagnose. And what else was I going to say? I can't even think. There's so much.
Yeah.
The whole, oh God, help me out here. Oh, my brain went on vacation here.
It is a nice day for that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
them always talking about themselves. It is especially the talking smack about people. That's the one you really want to watch because it can get pretty vile, amazingly.
Yeah,
So,
unfortunately.
yeah, like she had mentioned, him saying if murder were legal. So, yeah, that's just, yeah.
And another thing I wanted to mention was with regards to talking about exes. I mean, even if the other person is talking about the ex in such a way that like, oh, they were bad for me, I moved on, etc. Just the fact that they keep talking about them is a sign that they still have some things that they need to work on from their previous relationship before they're really ready for another relationship.
Well, if you're a narcissist, you're never ready for another relationship. You just plow through them like they're nothing. You go through them like a lawnmower goes through grass. But, it's the whole subject there, too, of they're constantly talking about their exes and it's their fault and this and that, when actually it's, the narcissist's fault. But that's the one thing I had noticed. There was always this kind of vibe of them mentioning exes, but also in another related situation of, oh, well, this chick was trying to get at me. This chick is talking to me. She's really, wanting to get at me. And it's like, okay, pushing the button to see if we got jealousy happening, because it's like they always have this kind of manipulative, it almost feels like a little snake, that they are just testing and pushing your buttons to see if you're going to be cranky about it, if you're going to be jealous about it. It's like they're doing it on purpose because they want that attention from you. They want to see that you're going to have some sort of response.
Yeah, I did a project on it in my film class where you had to find a film that had a certain, like, just a certain thing, and I did Narcissism on Mommy Dearest and Joan Crawford.
Oh, God, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, she was off the wall, crazy.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for Christina, and I forget her son's name.
Christopher.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty simple. I probably should have remembered that, but she was horrible to those kids. Even there was a part where they were racing in the swimming pool, and she was like, let's go again. And she said, I beat you because I'm bigger, and I'll always be better than you.
Oh, yes.
So, like, even big stars and celebrities still have it, and you wouldn't even guess just by their appearance. But that's a big lesson is in movies, too, and in shows you can see some warning signs, but I don't think a lot of people pick up on it when it's actually happening to them.
Yeah, exactly.
I noticed that denial seems to be a big thing. So when you do get those warning signs that you're in a narcissistic relationship, a lot of times you want to deny that it's actually happening.
Yeah, that's a big thing because you don't want to admit to it actually happening either, because you never know how other people will judge you or if they'll even understand if you're like, I think I am in this type of relationship.
Well, the bad thing, too, is you start second-guessing yourself, because when they gaslight you so much, you start thinking to yourself, you get confused. You're like, am I really doing that? Am I really this way? You question yourself. You start doubting yourself. You're a pretty firm person, some people, the insecurities, but you start questioning, like, oh my God, maybe they're right, maybe they're this. It's like they screw with your head so bad, you start believing the BS that they're coming up with and saying, well, you just don't remember, and that's not the way that it happened, or, that's a very common thing, that gets thrown into the mix as well. And, it's like they want to try to keep you in a constant state of confusion. That way they put the hook in a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
So those of you who are listening to the show, the Wright Morning Show, we would love to hear your thoughts and also your experiences with narcissists in your life. Leave us a message, wwsu1069.org. That's wwsu1069.org. Click the green play button and then click Chat with DJ. You could also leave a message with us on YouTube, the WWSU 106.9 FM channel, excuse me, or in the WWSU 106.9 FM Discord. So we would love to hear your thoughts and your experiences with narcissism. I think for our Thoughtful Thursday, we'll continue our discussion of narcissism, but I'm going to transfer over to kind of what makes a narcissist a narcissist. Like, how does that work psychologically? How does a narcissist form and develop? Things like that. I think I'm going to dive into that in our final 30 minutes of the show. What do you think?
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that'd be an interesting topic to talk about.
All right.
Let's yank it up. See what's up.
We're going to go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and get into that topic. You're listening to the Wright Morning Show on WWSU 106.9 FM. Oh, before we go to break, I keep forgetting because Laughing Chipmunk is there, sitting there so silently and quietly. Do you have anything to add on to what we talked about?
Sorry, I was muted.
That's all right.
No, I'm just sitting here listening to everything and listening to the articles and you guys talking about, not how do you say it again? I can't even say the word.
Narcissist. He was an actual person in Greek mythology. He was the one that fell in love with his reflection.
Oh, I remember that story, yeah.
And he is very closely related to the flower of the daffodil for whatever reason. I forget about that one, but yeah, he was in Greek mythology.
It's like that Smurf that likes to look at himself in the mirror all the time.
Vanity, yeah.
Yes.
With a little flower in his hat.
Yeah.
I'm so beautiful.
Exactly.
Even though you look just like all of the other Smurfs, except one of them, of course.
Well, except with a flower on his hat, so yeah.
Yes.
All right. We're going to go ahead and take our break, and we'll get into our discussion with narcissism and psychology on the Wright Morning Show, WWSU.
They say singing can help you remember things, so here's some tips for parents out there during these tough times. Number 1, make sure your kids wash their hands for 20 seconds.
on WWSU 106.9 FM, the Wright Morning Show, because I unmuted too late on YouTube there. So I wanted to make sure people on YouTube knew who we are. All right. So we're going to talk about how narcissism develops. And one of the most common ways that narcissistic personality disorder forms is through the family. So here's an article from the Washington Post. This was written in 2015. How parents create narcissistic children, and this was written by Lenny Bernstein, excuse me.
Bernstein, okay.
Just about everybody has one raging narcissist to deal with sooner or later. On the job and social situations, or God forbid, in the home. How did it get this way, we wonder? What was his childhood like? For what appears to be the first time, researchers have taken a stab at that question by following and surveying 565 children, ages 7 through 11, and their parents, 415 mothers and 290 fathers. The results are quite clear. Parents who overvalue children during the developmental stage, telling them that they are superior to others and entitled to special treatment, are more likely to produce narcissistic children who can grow up to become narcissistic adults.
Interesting.
Unless something is done about it. When children are seen by their parents as being more special and more entitled than other children, they may internalize the view that they are superior individuals, a view that is at the core of narcissism. The researchers wrote in a study released online in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. But when children are treated by their parents with affection and appreciation, they may internalize the view that they are valuable individuals, a view that is at the core of self-esteem. So that's the big difference between narcissism and having good self-esteem. It's the complexity. The biggest issue, or the biggest difference, is the element of superiority and entitlement. That's not present with good self-esteem, whereas it is in narcissism, it sounds like. So this seems to make sense intuitively, but as the authors, Brad Bushman of Ohio State University and Eddie Brummelman, a postdoctoral researcher at Holland's University of Amsterdam and Utrecht University, point out, this was not the prevailing explanation all along. Psychoanalytic theory suggested that narcissists were the result of parents who showed them too little warmth. So Bushman and Brummelman pitted social learning theory, the idea that you can learn through modeled behavior, against the psychoanalytic argument, and found that indeed children learn their narcissism from parents who teach them that they are more than special. The authors also wanted to determine what differentiated narcissists, who tend to be more aggressive and even violent than other people, and are at higher risk for depression, anxiety, and drug addiction, from people with strong self-esteem. As mentioned above, parents who show their kids warmth and appreciation without promoting that they are superior tend to raise children with solid self-esteem. Previous studies have looked at narcissistic adults, but in 2008, Brummelman said in an interview, reliable testing instruments became available for young children. By the age of 7 or 8, he said, children develop the ability to describe whether they are happy with themselves and are very likely to compare themselves with others. It's an age when they may be especially sensitive to parental influence, he added. The researchers did note that they couldn't quite come out and show cause and effect. Of course, parental over-evaluation is not the sole origin of narcissism, they wrote. They added, like other personality traits, narcissism is moderately irritable and partly rooted in early emerging temperamental traits. Some children, due to their temperamental traits, might be more likely than others to become narcissistic when exposed to parental over-evaluation. So I'm going to pause. What are your initial thoughts so far on this analysis?
Well, I feel like that could be very true, for sure. And in some cases, yes, but also feel like, a lot of variance. But, it definitely starts somewhere. And I would say that, we learn, obviously, from our parents, the do's, the don'ts, the ins, the outs, and all this other good stuff. And if we're having, not enough or even too much, it's what's a nice balance, I think, is the thing. But also I have seen that in certain traumatic situations for people when they've grown up, like abuse or mental abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, that there's a tendency for things to, develop in those particular situations as well. So it's not just the common strand of how your parents are going to raise you emotionally, mentally. It's also what you've been through, gone through, and had happened to you during that time as well. So that's some other factoring of certain things in. But I can definitely agree that it would be, a down the line kind of thing, something that's kind of passed, from generation to generation, quite possibly.
Yeah, I think that if you put your own child on a high post against other other children that they might be getting, like they could grow up and get the syndrome or disorder, because if you put them on a high post, then they're just going to think that about themselves all the time. Not to be like mean to children, but sometimes you got to humble them a little.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I was saying during the commercial break. I think my dad's probably a narcissist. And my grandma too, because she always used to say, "Oh well, your father used to be able. Every time he did something for the first time, he always did it perfect." Oh, it's like
Not
thinking
true.
back on that right now. It's like, well, he put on ice skates, he could ice skate, and he did this and he did that. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking back, I can kind of see. I don't think I'm a narcissist, hardly. I have insecurities. I'm tasty for the narcissist. But
What do you mean by that? Out of curiosity, what do you mean by that?
I'm the ice cream cone for the narcissist.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
now.
they see my goodness as weakness, and they're going to come off as the victim. I tend to be somewhat of a fixer, rescuer, so of course I'm going to gravitate, and since I'm intuitive and I do psychic work, you radiate your energy, and those kind of people get drawn in. So as many positive people that you're going to pull into your aura, you're going to pull some of the negative stuff into. So, I'm kind of like the glowing ice cream cone out there going, "Hey, come see me, come have some free ice cream." But, I feel like sometimes we have that doormat stamped on our head and our butt, so we got to be real careful about that.
My niece plays soccer every Sunday and Saturday at like 10 or 4, and I'll go, and these parents, I'm telling you, some kids, I'm like competitive, and I'll be like, to my brother, I'm like, you gotta humble them sometimes, because they'll just stand there, and I'm like, what are you doing? And then these parents will go up to him and be like, you did amazing, you guys can play professional soccer. I'm like, they literally stood there, but thanks guys for really putting them up there. You gotta humble them a little. And I was like, oh, sometimes they just put them higher than, like, you have to give kids support, but there's also a point to where you don't want to give them too much.
Big head.
Yeah.
Big head syndrome. Mm-hmm. You don't want them to be running around going, I'm good at everything, and I'm untouchable, and, you suck, and I'm great, and, oh, well, I can play better than you. So it gets into all that, because even the parents, the parents are just like doting over them, because it's like either the parents, were the quote-unquote perfect child, supposedly, or they weren't that perfect child, and they're trying to pump their kid up to be something that they weren't.
Yeah.
So then the child becomes, the plain blank canvas of what the parent wants. Oh, well, you're going to grow up and be this NFL player, or you're going to grow up and you're going to make all this money and you're going to do this and you're going to do everything that I didn't do. It's like, oh my God, that's a lot to live up to.
Yeah. And even the parents, they might not see it when their kid is around them, but at school it can be completely different, like shutting down other kids and what they achieved or what they like to do. But then when they're around their parents, they could be like so friendly and nice, and then just
stab you in the back later.
Mean at school.
Yeah.
I'm going to toss this out there just for fun. I think one of the best examples of narcissism is music is the song "Anything You Can Do, I Can Do Better."
Yeah.
No doubt.
Now that song's going to be stuck in my head all day.
Yeah, and then them screaming, "No, I can't." Yes, I can. Oh my God.
That reminds me of the movie. Have you ever seen Problem Child?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that kid had it.
Yeah, I would say so. For sure. Definitely challenging.
I'm going to finish off the article here. Aside from having to deal with someone like this, why would any of us care? Well, narcissism has been on the rise among Western youth in recent decades.
Unfortunately.
I wonder why.
Can't imagine, no.
Bushman put his concerns nicely when my colleague Rachel Feltman interviewed him for another study last summer. I've been studying aggression for about 30 years, he said, and I've seen that the most harmful belief that a person can have is that they are superior to others. Men are better than women. My race is better than your race. My religion is superior to your religion. When people believe they're better than other people, they act accordingly. And if we've learned anything from things like World War II, it can result to violence and even ethnic cleansing if we want to take it to that extreme. But it can and has happened. He and Brummelman wrote in this paper, narcissistic individuals feel superior to others, fantasize about personal successes, and believe they deserve special treatment. When they feel humiliated, they often lash out aggressively or even violently. So, can anything be done to halt this process? Brummelman said yes, both during the ages of 7 to 12 when the sentiment develops, and later. Perhaps we could develop a way to help parents convey affection and appreciation for a child without necessarily putting a child on a pedestal, without telling the child he is better than others, he said. They got it. They got an over-evaluation survey and we could see how we fare. Let's see if we have narcissism, shall we?
Yeah, sounds like fun. Let's go for it.
You want to try it?
Let's do it.
All right. So this survey is from The Ohio State University, the same place that tried to copyright the.
Yeah, The Ohio State.
This website will allow you access to the newly published parental over-evaluation scale. Please answer the question as honestly as you can, and you will receive immediate personalized feedback about how high your score is compared to our normed samples. Who wants to do it? Because it's going to ask for gender and things like that.
I'll do it. I'll volunteer.
Okay,
oh, God, look out.
Laughing Chipmunk.
This ought to be entertaining.
All right, so Laughing Chipmunk, I already know because she's my mom. She's a female, born in 1966, born in the United States of America. Think of your 8 to 12-year-old child, Laughing Chipmunk. If you have multiple children this age, think about the one who most recently had their birthday. What is... Oh, it's just asking for their name.
Okay.
What is your child's gender? This irks me. They don't have a gender.
Undecided.
They don't?
Nope. But there's not a star next to it, so I wonder if you can leave it blank. Anyway, oh gosh, well, this isn't going to work for either of us because it's asking for the child's age, and of course they want to know about your child who is between 8 and 12 years old, and we don't have any children between that age.
No.
That's unfortunate. Dang it. I guess we can't take the survey.
Are you sure it's not the child at their years of being 8 to 12?
I'm sorry,
In the
what?
past? Is it the past of 8 to 12 or the present?
It looks like present because they're actually asking for the child's current age, and the only options you have are 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we're not available to do that.
But if any of you listening want to take the quiz, you could go to WashingtonPost.com and just find the article, How Parents Create Narcissistic Children. That's unfortunate. I was hoping to do a survey today.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's another
Hang on,
site that you could probably look
Just like
on to.
am I a narcissist?
Here we go. Narcissistic Personality Inventory, the Narcissism Test from openpsychometrics.org.
Psychometric. Oh, that sounds interesting.
Okay. Laughing Chipmunk, are you ready?
Yep.
For each pair of items, choose the one that you most identify with. If you identify with both equally, choose the one you think is the most important. So here we go.
Okay.
I have a natural talent for influencing people, or I am not good at influencing people.
I would say I'm not good at influencing people.
All right.
I agree to that.
Yeah.
Harmony knows Laughing Chipmunk for a long time.
Too well. She's an oxymoron, but we'll talk about that later.
We should talk about oxymoron personality traits next time. Next one. Modesty doesn't become me, or I am essentially a modest person.
Nowadays.
No, not nowadays.
It all depends on what kind of modesty. Are we talking about modesty of the body, modesty of the mind?
No, it's definitely
modesty.
It's definitely not the mind. Are you modest?
Okay,
See,
well,
this is where the oxymoron comes in, because she can think the worst of herself, but yet think she's the hottest woman on the planet at the same time. Right now, she's not going to think that because of, we're getting old, but for the most part.
Well, no, honestly, the older I get, the more I'm having, like, body issues, again, because, I'm 60 pounds overweight.
Well, yeah, just answer the question. Answer the question, for God's sake. We only have so much time to deal with.
We got 3 minutes to get
3
through
minutes.
50
Come
questions. We could do it.
Okay, I don't know. I'm modest, but yet I'm not.
Oh, pick one.
Just give her the knot. We're going to go by something other than just give her the knot.
Next question. I would do almost anything on a dare, or I tend to be a fairly cautious person.
Oh, hell no. She would do anything.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me, yeah.
Yeah.
I would?
Yeah, you
Honestly, let's be friends, because I would too.
When she comes into town, I'll bring her in the studio and you can meet her.
Yes, we'll be besties.
When people compliment me, I sometimes get embarrassed, or I know that I am good because everybody keeps telling me so. The chuckle.
Okay, I do get embarrassed at times, I mean, if I
Yeah,
know
don't
that-
explain. Just answer the question and move on.
Okay, I do. I mean, even if I don't show it, I do get embarrassed.
Okay.
When I'm
Move on.
The thought of ruling the world frightens the heck out of me. If I ruled the world, it would be a better place.
the second one. Oh yeah, if I ruled the world, it would be a better place.
Where are we going to find rubber pants this time of day, Pinky?
I can usually talk my way out of anything, or I try to accept the consequences of my behavior.
Oh,
Answer the question.
I know the question. I do both actually.
Oh, God. Which one's stronger?
The second one, really. I mean, if
No
I do
explanation.
something
Move on.
If I do something stupid,
We got a
I wanna
3-minute
know
time
about it.
limit. Now we're down to 2.
No, we're down to none.
Oh God,
we are out of time. So we'll continue the survey tomorrow if you're on the show, if that's all right with you, Laughing Chipmunk.
Yeah.
We'll do it during the freeform discussion.
God, look at this. 3 days in a row, narcissist. Oh my God.
All right.
Tic-tac-toe, cut the narcissist by the toe.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Quick recap of the weather. It is currently mostly clear at 80 degrees. It's going to be a little bit overcast later on this afternoon, but otherwise the temperature is going to hover around the mid-80s for the high today. Next chance of rain isn't going to be until Saturday, I believe. So thank you, everybody, for making us a part of your morning on the Wright Morning Show. We're here every morning from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., every weekday morning, that is. I keep saying every morning, but we're not here on the weekend. We'll be back tomorrow on the Wright Morning Show. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you again next time. Have a great day.
Hey, this is Mac Miller, and you're listening to WWSU, Dayton's Right Choice.
Social distancing slows the spread of coronavirus, so if you have a fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going in. More info at coronavirus.gov. Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone. Done. By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them